trades was between New York Knicks that actually beat up our Toronto Raptors last night, but also, I
Good
mean,
game
like
though.
in that, yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game. So in that trade, of course, there was Karl Anthony Towns. It was the main piece from the T Wolves, and he was traded for Julius Randle, and Vincenzo. Right? Was it just
Yeah,
those two? Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No picks.
yeah.
Yeah,
So like for face value, I thought it was a weird trade when it happened, but now that we're 22 games in, and it looks like Tim T Wolves are kind of taking a step back from where they were last year. Was this the trade to make? Was this the right move for them to do? Because Carl Anthony Towns seems to be balling.
facts. Yo, he's looking amazing in New York. I can't even front, yo. He's looking really good out there. Now, was this
Hmm.
the trade to make? It all depends who you're asking, right? If you're asking basketball fans, fans of the Timberwolves, they're probably gonna say no, just because Cat and Ant, they look like they had something going on there. Gobert was their defensive anchor and stuff like that. But I've been reading and watching videos and stuff like that. Apparently, this was more a financial decision. I guess the production that Cat gives versus what he makes is not worth it, so they have to get rid of it. Because of the new CBA now, like there's a lot of penalties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think the thinking of the Timberwolves was they saw the Timberwolves in the conference finals, and Cat showed up for what, maybe one game out of that series,
Yeah.
maybe, I think maybe game four if I'm not mistaken, game four or three, one of them, and he didn't show up, so they're looking at their books, bro, like this is how much we have to pay in taxes and penalties. This
Hmm.
is the production we're getting. I can get that cheaper from Julius Randle, which offensively, Cat is a better offensive player, but come on, they both can kind of give you the same production in different ways. It's just that
Yeah.
Cat's more efficient at it. So I think they were looking at it. Okay, we can trade Cat, get Dante and Randall, and it'll kind of
Hmm.
make up for that. But unfortunately, it's not. It like things don't always work out like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's more of
Because
a
I'm
financial thing.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. If it's the financial thing, then that I see where they benefited from there. And I guess like when the trade was made, fresh out of the Western Conference Finals, you don't show up, right? So, I mean, and you get two players. Obviously Julius Randle was hurt all most of last year, but DiVincenzo was balling out last year too. So I guess when they made that trade, if DiVincenzo was playing better right now, I
Hmm.
think that would make the trade much more of a okay, we see kind of thing, right? So I think a little bit is being detracted from DiVincenzo because he's just not playing up to par, right? And
That's fair.
you don't really expect Cat to play like this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but this doesn't translate to like playoff basketball, right? Right. So
That's the thing.
how real is it until it's done in the games that matter,
Exactly.
right? So that's kind of oh, damn.
No, because
I
no,
don't.
see, no, but see, that's the thing though, and see, that's why it's funny, like we're talking about this because the playoffs is what really, really matters. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
Cat might not show up for the Knicks, and then Knicks fans are gonna flame them. They're gonna see why the Timberwolves traded them. They're gonna see why other guys called them
Hmm.
soft and stuff like that. But as of right now, you have to give him his credit. You know what I'm trying to say? In theory, I guess it was supposed to work. You get a 20-point scorer in Julius Randle. You get a 40% 3-point shooter from uh, Dante, whatever.
Yeah.
It's supposed to work. You know what I'm trying to say? It's supposed to
Yeah.
work. But but then also the question comes: do you actually know ball though? Because Cat and Randall, like I said, they may be able to give you 20 points a night, but they do it differently. Julius
Hmm.
Randall needs the ball in his hand. He
Yep.
needs to dribble like a point guard, bro. Like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm watching this guy play ISO ball like he's Kobe, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
weird, yo. It's weird. And I'm like, yo, bro,
Hmm.
you're a power forward. Like,
Hmm.
don't be
Hmm.
doing that. Give the ball to Ant, and that's part of the reason why Ant's shooting so many threes right now because the lane is clogged up. So I don't know. I think that's why I think it's more financial than basketball because like if
Yeah.
you quote unquote no ball, you wouldn't pair Julius Randle with a guy like Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert.
Hmm. So what's their plan with Julius then? Are they gonna, ship him out too, or let his contract expire? He gets picked up from another team with a I guess a declining contract because he looks like he's kind of, not fit for modern day basketball right now. Like he's almost like how they kind of do like these metaphors. He's like the Kobe Bryant of Udonis Haslam's. You know what I
Yo,
mean? Like
you know what? I've
you
heard that before.
yo Udonis was great because he was just there in that little post block, 12-foot jumper. Butter. Julius Randle is just doing too much. He's capable of doing more, but to what extent? At what cost? You know what I mean? It'd be nice if he could just be a great player at that in that area. You know what I mean? You should not really be on the 3 point line. I don't want him shooting my threes, to be honest. So
I don't want the ball in
so
his hands, but
hmm
that's how he has to score, unfortunately. So
yeah,
you don't want to
yeah.
just have him out there. But um, like I don't know. I think personally, maybe the Timberwolves front office was looking at it like, yo, the Celtics are just too good. Like even if we keep Cat, we're
Yeah.
still not gonna win. So maybe this year was maybe gonna be not a wash, but more so a transition period. Okay, maybe let's see if Randall can fit in our system or not. And if he can't, then
hmm
maybe we trade him by trade deadline because you can still do that,
hmm
or you let him walk. But then you did a whole thing for nothing. But I think this year's a wash in the sense of like I don't have any championship aspirations for the Timberwolves at all. I think right
hmm
now it's just about getting better and just making all the young guys, including Ant, just get better. I don't think Randall is in their future plans going forward. I just don't see it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I
I don't
think
see
this
it.
is a trade that you can't really say it was better for either team until it plays out. Because they both. I mean, like Cat is playing great, but like he has to show up in the playoffs, and I think that's where it's going to matter the most.
Facts.
Um, but it makes sense from a from a T Wolves perspective to get rid of him regardless, right? Whether it made him a better team or a worse team financially, they're going to be better off in the long term, right? So it really just boils down. Do you think Cat is going to be able to keep this up? Do you think this is something that like is this who we should get used to in terms of Karl Anthony Towns? Is this who he is?
I think this is who he's been, to be honest. Obviously his numbers are a little bit elevated, but I think this is who he's been. It's just that when you're on a small market team like the Timberwolves, you may not
Yeah.
get that exposure like a New York Knicks team. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Mhm.
I just think what he's doing right now is just being exposed to a bigger market, to more eyes, and people are seeing what's happening. But like I said, the same. I feel the same thing in the playoffs. The same eyes and stuff are going to see why maybe the Timberwolves said this is not worth it. Because in order to increase the value of your franchise, you have to win a championship. In order to win a championship, you might have to make some sacrifices financially. They said, "Nah, we're not doing that." They said,
Yeah.
we're not taking no chances to improve our franchise. From a business perspective, we're going to ship our number one pick out. So that says a lot. I think people need to understand that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like they traded the number one pick for no picks for Julius Randle, who was injured last year, like you said, and Dante, who's a role player, who's a really good role player. So yeah, like
Mm.
you said, I don't know who wins this trade today. It's easy to say, yep, New York Knicks won the trade, even though defensively, Cat's not him, but that's not where his
Mhm.
strengths lie, anyways. That's why he was better in Minnesota with Rudy. But yeah, well,
Yeah.
like you said, the playoffs will determine if the New York Knicks won this trade or not.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, shout out to both teams. You know, New York's playing a lot better than they were. They started off the first couple games rough. Same with T
Rough.
Wolves. They look like they're getting things figured out a bit. So at least both teams will be in the playoffs. So we'll see where they end up and where they lie. Now,